Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Sasquatch Speaks. I am Sasquatch, otherwise known as Gavisas, welcoming you back once again to our dark little corner of the internet, where very loud buses drive past my open window. I will have to edit that out, or at least as much of it as I possibly can, because I don't understand why they decided to do that at this point in the day. Anyway, yes. Anyway, today's topic, maybe I want to edit it out. Leave it in there. Let people know that I'm not just crazy. Today's topic, continuing with the idea of pet peeves and things that have just annoyed me a little bit. Today's topic is something that I wrote down. I'm like, okay, well, this is annoying. Blah blah blah. I don't like this. And then I went back and looked at it. I'm like, that's really not a good idea. I'm just going to throw it out and just ignore it. Pretend like it never happened until today. When I got the other side of it, which I found that I quite enjoyed. To be more specific, today, when I got a haircut, woke up this morning, went right down to the barber shop about a quarter of a mile away. That's like half a kilometer, I think, if you're in the metric system and don't want to do the conversions yourself. It's not to be exactly, but it's roughly around there, so just deal with it. Anyway, so I not walked down there, but I drove down there and I got my hair cut, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the barber, and she's a fairly nice lady, and we had a great conversation. We talked and found out a lot about things going on with her, and she asked me a bunch of questions about me, and it generally was just a great experience. It genuinely brightened the start of my day, which is generally not a very good, easy thing to do, because I hate mornings. But, in the middle, so like I said, I had a great, as much fun as you can have in getting your hair cut, I had it. It was a really good experience. I was like, yeah, when I come back in here again, I'm definitely going to ask to have you again, because she did a good job on my hair. It doesn't look like crap, and she's, like I said, she was very personable. So, like I said, it was a good experience. But what I wrote down a couple months ago was the flip side of that experience. I walked into the barber shop again, getting the Sasquatch mane curl trimmed back a lot. Walk in here and say, hey, just need a haircut. She goes, okay. A different lady. She goes, okay, sit down in the chair. I'm like, okay. So I sat down and I said, hey, it was fairly empty that day, so I'm like, hey, it's pretty sparse in here. What's the deal? She goes, oh, it's usually empty this time. I'm like, okay. How's your day going? I'm like trying to drag words out of her, and she's just like completely ignoring me, and I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to get some human interaction here. I know this isn't like the most exciting job in the world, looking at the back of someone else's head all day, but you can make it a little bit better on them and on yourself if you just open up and talk a little bit. Say, hey, is it raining outside or whatever? What do you think about that? I don't know what the point is, but this lady was just like the most deadpan, uninterested person I ever met, and I'm like, hey, come on. It's me. It's me. It's Sasquatch. It's Gavi. And she's just like, yeah, don't care. Just gonna cut your hair in silence. Prefer it remain that way. Very tired, apparently, on that day, and just no interest. And I'm like, okay. Having seen both of them now, and I talked before about how there's the difference between like the chain place and the mom and pop sort of place. And the place I go to, it's family owned. It's one location, as far as I know. They might have two. Actually, I remember talking to the owner of the place. He does have two locations, but I don't know where the other one is, so it's not really important. But the one lady, she's very deadpan. The other one's just spectacular. Just great human being. I enjoyed the time that I spent in her general vicinity. But then it got me thinking, okay, why do we have this concept of people, when you go to the barber, that you talk to them? I mean, there's like every movie ever that there's been some sort of barber involved. I mean, going back to like TV programs and Clint Eastwood movies and the whole 9 yards, whenever there's a barber involved, everyone knows him. He knows everything about everyone else, and just like he's like the town gossip column or whatever it is, and just that carries over very well into real life. I remember when I was growing up, I went to a guy who is no longer trimming hair, but again, he was one of the people who just walked in. He had that sort of personality that your day got better by having him in it. And it's just, I know that's not specifically a part of the job description. I understand that. But when the perception is that fulfilling, let's open this up, not just barbers, but whatever it is, different positions and different titles and different places have preconceived notions of what those people ought to be. And sometimes you're surprised in a good way. I mean, not very often. Very, very, very rarely are you surprised in a good way as to like people being outside of the preconceived notions of what something ought to, in terms of the way of acting in a professional sense. But when you go in, it's like, okay, well, I'm going in to get my hair cut, or I'm going in to get a drink at a bar, or if you go into a business like I am, and you're like, hey, I want to have, like most barber sort of, at least the preconceived notion of like how barbers and hair cutting people ought to be, really doesn't work out so well in what I do. I mean, if people walked into my house, well, not my house, but into my office, and they're like, hey, I want to get my insurance together, my investments together, and a whole 9 yards. And I'm like, yay! I'm so happy. How's your day going? Yeah, just jumping up and down and being all so happy. And like I said, there are occasions where that's okay. But if you are just talking about anything else other than the business that people like come to you to do, they're going to be really upset. Like, really upset. As opposed to, like, barbers or bartenders or whatever else it is that, where it's more of a social setting rather than, like, business must be done right now. Those, it's expected that people look into other areas of their life, like to try and pry in or inject their own or something. And I just find it strange that I talked what I did get out of the one lady was that she'd been doing this for many years. Like, this was like her 30th year in the business, just clipping hair. And I'm like, that's a long time to look at the back of somebody's head. Which she didn't laugh at because she had no sense of humor or awareness that I was even there, other than that there was hair flying off of my head. And it was just like, man, how do you exist like this? I mean, like I said, in my business is very business-like. It's very upfront, very straightforward, and we do have a good time. There's a lot. There's like office jokes and rumors, and it's a very family setting among the people who work there. With clients, it's straightforward. I mean, it's like, hey, this is, in many cases, it is literally life and death sort of situations, and it's like, we can't really joke about this because it's really, really serious and people might die. Well, not might die from what we do, but it might be financially ruined if we screw something up. So there's not a lot of, just, yay, happy, fun times jumping up and down, and here, have a sucker and a lollipop as you walk out the door. Not really that sort of setting. But, I mean, we're still friendly with people. We try and interact with them as much as we can. It's just, usually, it's business. And it's straightforward. And not only is that how it is, that's really how it should be because of the severity, not the severity, but the seriousness of what we do. I guess it would be severity. But when you just I could be completely wrong, because I've never cut someone's hair. I never have an intention of cutting someone else's hair. But in my perception, that's really not that kind of a position. It's really not that sort of a job, so to speak. It's like, hey, I'm running a clipper over the back of your head, and I must make sure that every little hair is just like the super detail or oriented people who's just like in there with like micro tweezers trying to make sure that every hair is the exact same length. I'm like, if that is your concept of cutting a hair and you're actually a barber in that sort of profession, stop. You're going to mess up your entire life and the life of everyone. Well, not life, but just you will end up frustrated, and your clientele will not particularly like you because they're like, hey, I just dropped in here for 10 minutes so I could like not have hair coming down over my ears. I gotta go. I don't care if the one on my right side is a slightly bit longer than on the left. Really not my biggest concern. I just don't want it to be like growing over other parts of my body. It's just not just not how I want my hair to be working. And in my profession, if it was growing over certain parts of my body, I'd be like, yeah, that's it's really unprofessional. I don't want to have you handle my money. Please leave or leave me alone or something like that. So it's like it's really kind of a hard concept to explain. But when I walk in, it's like, hey, that was kind of like my momentary escape. It's like, hey, I came in here to talk to you, to be friendly, to have like a genuine, not like a genuine conversation, but like a gregarious conversation. Where we're just like, it's fun, it's open. There's not really anything to be secret or mysterious about. We're just talking. We're just folks. It's kind of like stepping back from, the hard, grinding, fast-paced world that everyone's in. And it's just that moment where you can kind of be like, I don't have to worry about anything else right now. I can just sit here and let this person, do everything. And I can just be friendly with someone and have just a momentary human contact that's not like fraught with perils. It's just a friendly moment. And this one lady is just like, nope. I am going to be the super hyper detailed person with the tweezers trying to make sure that every single hair is exactly the same length as all the other ones. And I got that one too short, so I'm going to have to redo it with all the other ones and just be hyper focused on this and not talk to you at all and just be, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry that people are driving past my window again. It's too hot outside. Well, not hot outside. It's actually pretty cold outside, but it's me. I like the window open. It's fresh air. Even though there are people who drive past way too fast and make loud noises. And I should really not be drawing attention to those, but I am, so deal with it. But like I said, it can't be portrayed as a job requirement that you have to be of such and such a temperament to do it, because that's just not going to work out. But it's unrealistic and unreasonable to expect that of people, to just automatically have this temperament to fulfill this position. It's unreasonable to try and require that. But at the same time, it's not unreasonable to expect people who are in those positions to maybe be a little bit less surly. I would probably go so far as to say that she was surly with me, because she was not having anything to do with me. She's just like, yep, I'm here. I'm cutting your hair. And then I will be done. And then you will leave, and I will be much happier after you've left. She didn't say this, but this was the demeanor that I got from her. I'm like, oh, man, please. Like, if you were at a restaurant and your wait staff was like that, oh, there would be no tip. You would be calling the manager going, hey, this person, this guy right here, yeah, the one who was waiting on me, that guy, fire him right now. I want to stand here with a smug expression on my face while you do it, because this guy should not be interacting with the general public, or put him in a dishwasher or something in the back where he doesn't have to interact with customers and clientele, because he is like openly hostile to us. He does not want us to be here. He does not want to be here himself. He just is here for a paycheck, and that's it. And I understand there are certain jobs where that's all, or certain positions where you just show up for the paycheck, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to judge anyone on that or anything else like that. Not everyone can have their quote-unquote dream job. But whatever it is that you do, you should, even if it's something that you absolutely hate doing, and I've had some positions like this so I can say it, even if you really hate doing it, you gotta put a little bit of effort into it to make it not a living nightmare for first yourself and everyone else around you. And this lady clearly did something that she enjoyed doing. She'd been doing it for 30 years. But couldn't be bothered to show just a little bit of, like, human spontaneity in, like, one Thursday afternoon at the beginning of the summer. Just nothing. I'm like, Plus, she didn't do all that great a job on cutting my hair. Unlike today's lady, who was fantastic. So, you know, hand clap to her. Anyway, I suppose I've rambled enough about absolutely nothing. Hope you all have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, a like rating down below would be very much appreciated. If not, a dislike rating and a nasty comment telling me to stop being so judgmental of everyone else around me. Yeah, I will see you all next time. Oh, before I forget, like I've said before, I have all of next week planned out, and I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to do the week after that. But if you have any sort of questions or topics that you'd like me to cover, please leave those in the comments down below. Let me see. Really glad to see, just aside, I'm really glad to see everyone is still sticking in there. And I knew I knew as soon as I dropped the gameplay, even though my video quality was really bad, I knew I was going to take a hit on views. But I haven't actually taken that big of a hit as I thought I was going to, which, I mean, in my channel size, it's barely noticeable in the grand scheme, but I pay very close attention to it. So I want to thank everyone who's been still sticking around and hanging in there. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Goodbye.